Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dalton Riley here, one of the hosts for Boys on the Bench, and I have my top 6 Underdog Fantasy picks for you today for these NBA Finals between the Dallas Mavericks and the Boston Celtics, and it's going to be in Dallas. It's going to be a good one. The Mavericks cannot go down 0-2, especially playing at home now, going down 0-3. It will not be good for these NBA Finals, so it's going to be intense. I'm excited. But before we get started, guys, I want to go ahead and remind you to jump on over to my X profile where you'll find my username, Dalton_Boys OTB, and there you'll find all of my picks every single day. And you'll also find a link here where it'll take you to Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy, Better Picks, whatever it may be. And there you can copy my slip, make it your own. It takes less than 5 seconds. It's that easy. Also, guys, if you haven't subscribed or hit that bell notification icon yet for our channel, please go ahead and do so, guys. It helps us grow, and it also notifies you when we drop new content, so that way you can copy these picks because, guys, they go quick. Also, if you can, hit the like and comment on this episode as well, because, guys, it helps us grow and we love your feedback. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this episode and head on over to Underdog Fantasy. So for our first pick that we have today, we have Jrue Holiday going over 25 points plus rebounds plus assists. Daniel Gafford going under 2.5 points in the first quarter. Al Horford going under 1.5 rebounds in the first quarter. Kyrie Irving going under 8.5 rebounds plus assists. Peyton Pritchard going under 0.5 blocks plus steals. And then finally, we have Derek Lively II going over 14.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. So, guys, what I'm going to do today is we're going to head on over to Outlier, and I'm going to give you and provide you guys with this historical data as to why I believe that we are going to win these picks today, just by looking at the historical data, what Outlier gives us. So, as we can see here for our first pick for Jrue Holiday going over 25 points plus rebounds plus assists, he has hit this 80% of the time in his last 4 out of 5 games when he's on the road. So he plays extremely well on the road, and now that they're going to be in Dallas, Jrue Holiday has been playing phenomenal, especially at home the last 2 games in the NBA Finals. He's really stepped it up, playing lights out for the Celtics. And if anything, I feel like he's just at times been one of the best players on the court. So, which is kind of unlike him, but I feel like he should be able to take that momentum right into Dallas. He already plays phenomenally well on the road as it is. So if he can take that momentum, I believe that he's going to smash this 24.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. And as you can see right here, he's already averaging 27.2 PRA as it is. Also, something that sticks out to me here that I'm always going to mention here is looking at the defense. Dallas currently ranks near the tail end of the NBA when it comes to points allowed, rebounds allowed, and assists allowed. So they do give up tons when it comes to the defense side of the ball. So I would imagine Jrue Holiday is going to be able to do pretty well today. That's kind of what I'm predicting. And like I said here, just in his last 4 to 5, these insights are incredibly helpful if you do use Outlier. The historical data is unmatched. They're going to give you everything you need just by looking at the potential assists that he's had, rebound chances, his minutes of play, which you can see here is pretty average around that 37.5, 38. So, like I said, I think he's going to do phenomenally well today. Looking forward to a great game. And looking at his last 5 and his last 10, he's hit this 80% of the time and 70% of the time in his last 10. So he's right now he's on a heater, and I think today is going to be a great game. So for our next pick, we have Daniel Gafford going under 2.5 points in the first quarter. So as you can see for this insight here, Daniel Gafford has failed to exceed 2.5 first quarter points in 4 out of his last 5 games versus top 10 defenses for points allowed. As of right now, he's averaging 1.4 first quarter points per game. So just under 2 points. If anything, he's averaging just a point per quarter. So in the first quarter. And like they said, the Boston Celtics are a very, very tough defense. As we've seen already up to this point in the NBA Finals, it just seems like Dallas can't get anything going, and especially to start the game. So I do not expect Daniel Gafford to really do much, even get a basket in his first quarter. As we've seen in these trends, as in the last 5, he hasn't gone over 2.5 points. 80% of the time in his last 5, he hasn't gone over 2.5 points. 70% of the time in his last 10. I mean, and even if we look at his head-to-head here, he hasn't gone over 2.5 points in his last 5 matchups versus the Boston Celtics. So historically, he just hasn't played well versus the Boston Celtics, and I don't imagine in the first quarter him getting over 2.5 points. So with that being said, let's go on and head over to our third pick, and that is Al Horford going under 1.5 rebounds in the first quarter as well. So this is another first quarter play that we have here. I only had 2 in our slip. So for this one, Al Horford has failed to exceed 1.5 first quarter rebounds in 4 out of his last 5 games, averaging 1.2 rebounds in the first quarter. So again, in his last 5, he's only had more than 1.5 rebounds 80% of the time in his last 5 and 70% of the time in his last 10. Looking at his head to head, he's about 50% of the time in the last 6 games. With his last 2 here recently in the NBA Finals, he's only had 1 rebound in the first quarter in both these games. So I'm kind of expecting that to be the same here. Now, Dallas does give up quite a bit of rebounds. They currently rank 25th, so this doesn't necessarily look appetizing or appealing. However, just looking at the historical data in his last 5 and his last 10, it's just a common trend that he's been on as of right now. So I just don't see him exceeding, more than 1.5 or 2 rebounds in the first quarter. So I'm going to roll with this one. So for our 4th pick today, we have Kyrie Irving going under 8.5 rebounds plus assists. As mentioned earlier, the Boston Celtics do have a very tough defense as they currently rank middle of the pack when it comes to rebounds, but they are still top 5 when it comes to assists allowed. And as you'll see here, Kyrie Irving has failed to exceed 8.5 rebounds plus assists in 4 of his last 5 games versus top 10 defenses for assists allowed. So when it comes to assists allowed, like I said, they are top 5. So when he plays tough teams that don't give up very many assists, he's been averaging about 7 rebounds plus assists per game average. So that's about 80% of the time in his last 5 games. So I just feel like our odds here of him going under is very high. So that's why I like this here where we're at. So for our fifth pick, we currently have Peyton Pritchard going under 0.5 steals plus blocks. Looking here, Peyton Pritchard has gone under 0.5 steals plus blocks in 8 of his last 9 games, averaging 0.1 steals plus blocks per game average. That's almost 90% of the time. I just feel like that is way too high. Of an odds. It was hard to pass up. This is too good to be true. And not to mention, Dallas currently ranks 2nd in the NBA when it comes to blocks allowed. They just don't give up very, very many block shots. And they're kind of middle of the pack when it comes to steals allowed. So I just don't see Peyton Pritchard getting too many opportunities here to get a steal or a block, as the Mavericks are pretty good when it comes to defending the ball. So now, again, with our last pick that we have today for Underdog Fantasy, we have Derek Lively the second going over 14.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. Now, this to me was a gut feeling. I just feel like Derek Lively has been playing absolutely lights out, great for the Dallas Mavericks as of late in these NBA Finals. And when it comes to playing at home, he has gone over 14.5 PRA in his last 6 out of his 7 games at home. So averaging 18.4. So we do get that like over a 4-point buffer for what we're getting here. So he's been absolutely crushing this line as of late, especially when it comes to playing at home. So he plays great. So considering that this is going to be in Dallas, I just felt like this was hard to pass up. In his last game at home, he did only hit 11 here when it comes to PRA. However, if you just look, his average has been 18.43, hitting 30 prior to that. However, although he only hit 11 in this one, if we look at his minutes, he only played 9.5 minutes in this game as well. So don't let that scare you too much, seeing that here being well under his 14.5, just because he barely got any playing time. And I just feel like in the 9.5 minutes that he did play, 11 PRA is really not that bad. So I do imagine he's going to crush this line. I do think this may have deflated his line a little bit, which actually kind of plays in our favor, I believe. Now looking at Boston's defense, like I said, very tough. Top 5 when it comes to points allowed and assists allowed, middle of the pack for rebounds. However, considering the fact that Derek Lively has been crushing this line and he plays great at home, I think we're going to be okay here. I think Dallas is going to have to step it up, and I think Derek Lively is going to have to be one that's going to have to play great today in order to pull out this win for Dallas at home. So anyways, guys, these are our top 6 Underdog Fantasy picks for the NBA Finals for today. As you can tell, most of these picks came straight from Outlier, as I wanted to dig straight into the historical data to explain why and how we got these picks and why they have such great chances of hitting. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment on this episode and let us know how you feel about these picks, if you're tailing or fading, or if you just have thought there were better options. I'll also copy and paste the slip link from Underdog Fantasy in the comments below, so make sure you guys jump on that as soon as possible before these lines change. Anyways, guys, let's get another sweep and let's have a great Wednesday. I'll see you guys tomorrow.